So one thing that we talk a lot about on this channel is the total disconnect between the Labour Party's MPs and who they are and what the Labour Party is supposed to represent. There is just a giant disconnect. It's PLP full of lobbyists, professionals, people who have got high up roles in politics, or advisors or consultants or lawyers, right? There are very few actual working class people in Parliament for the Labour Party. And do you know what the least working class profession is? The least working class profession is to be a fucking landlord, because it's not a profession. You're just a leech, you're just a parasite, sucking value from people who actually work for a living. And one such landlord is MP for Bethnal Green and Stepney, Rushnara Ali. This is a target seat for a left-wing party, and an independent came very, very close to unseating her over Gaza. And so she is probably wanting to keep a low profile and ensure that she doesn't do anything to draw attention to her as a politician. At least not something that would piss off people who would usually vote Labour, who already were likely to move away, given the Labour Party's, quite frankly, genocidal policy with regards to Gaza and Israel. So given that this is an MP who's a landlord, who extracts rents from poor people, who is a member of parliament for the party that is currently assisting Israel in the genocide of the Palestinian people, you'd think that as a homeless minister, she'd want to do a good job. She'd want to do a good job as the homeless minister. Unfortunately, chat, as you can see from this headline, she has done the opposite. She is absolute peak class traitor, insofar as she threw out tenants from the house that she rented to them as a landlord so that she could make £700 extra a month. This is somebody who is paid £93,000 per year as a member of parliament out of the public purse, who is so greedy, so unimaginably greedy and vile, that she would upend someone's life, a poor person's life, struggling to be able to rent in the capital, to squeeze an extra £700 a month, barely making a dent in terms of the overall income that she gets as a member of parliament. So ridiculous this is, that as a homeless minister, she's literally creating more homeless people so that she can make more money as a parasite, as a leech. She's already charging £1,000 per person, and she's doing more than 20% rent increases on these people. True to form, as you say, Aidan, Keir Starmer told us this was a party of working people. Turns out it's just a party of capital. The party of lazy, unworking layabouts who sit on their arse all day, which is what landlords are. It's super funny, right? Is that during the Blair era, we were continually told that the Labour Party is the party of people on benefits, right? People who refuse to work. And that was not true during the Corbyn era, but now during the Starmer era, it's so true, except by not work, we mean makes money off of rent. Yeah, the changed Labour Party. And you know what? Keir Starmer said, if you don't like the changes, you can leave. I don't like these changes, Keir. I've left and I'm going to join the Green Party. And I'm going to be supportive of the left-wing party with Jeremy Corbyn as well, right? You told me to leave, and you've shown me why I should. By appointing landlords as homelessness ministers. That's bad enough, right? It's bad enough to appoint a landlord to be a homelessness minister. It's even worse when they are greedy motherfuckers like Rushanara Ali. The landlord MP has previously spoken out against private renters being exploited and said her government will empower people to challenge unreasonable rent increases. And that's the thing, right, is that one thing that people really hate about the Labour Party is that they feel like they're hypocrites, and this is just the most hypocritical thing that you've ever seen in your life. Labour's Renters' Rights Bill, which will become law next year, prohibits landlords who have ended a tenancy in order to sell a property from relisting it at a higher rent until at least 6 months after the tenants have moved out, which quite frankly should be much longer than that period. That's not long enough. Because, again, like, she's just doing this now so she can get away with it before the law comes into force. Honestly. A source close to Rushanara Ali said her tenants had been told their tenancy would not be renewed and were offered the chance to stay on a rolling contract before she put up the house for sale, and the property was only relisted for rent after she did not find a buyer. A spokesperson for Rushanara Ali said she takes her responsibility seriously and complied with all relevant legal requirements. Like, that's it. Every single time with these motherfuckers. It happened with Giftgate, it happens with this, it happens with essentially every single piece of what could look as poor behaviour. They go, well, I didn't break the rules. I don't fucking care about the rules. The rules suck. The rules have been exploited and manipulated by bad actors within the system on the assumption that everybody would play by the rules for so long, and there has been no sense of propriety at all, essentially since the Blair era. Your only defense here is, we followed the law. Well, that's not a moral defense, is it? That is a procedural defense. And I don't care whether it's procedurally correct. Plenty of landlords do procedurally correct things. They are landlords, therefore they are parasites already. And on top of this, you're out here going, let's increase the rent now. For the second stream in a row, we're going to get some really hypocritical comments from James Cleverly. Conservative Shadow Housing Secretary James Cleverly called on Rushanara Ali to consider her position, saying the allegations would be an example of the most extreme hypocrisy and she should not have a job as a homelessness minister. I mean, yeah, you're right, James, but have you considered that people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, given that we had a massive housing and homelessness crisis under the Conservative government? And when you were in government, one of your ministers, Suella Braverman, said that homelessness was a lifestyle choice. So you're in no position to criticise even this level of hypocrisy from a Labour minister, James. Last March, Rushanara Ali rented out the 4-bedroom townhouse less than a mile from London's Olympic Park for £3,500 a month. Tenant Laura Jackson, a self-employed restaurant owner and one of 4 people who rented the property, received an email in November telling her their lease would not be renewed and giving them 4 months' notice to leave. Just weeks after they had left the property, Miss Jackson saw the house had been put back up for rent at nearly £4,000 a month. When the iPaper visited the property on Wednesday, new tenants confirmed they had moved in 4 or 5 months ago and were paying around about £4,000 per month, right? So the story that we're getting here, that they'd waited all of these months and they wanted to find a buyer but they couldn't find one, given that it literally took weeks for the new tenants to be moved in, just shows you that it was obviously a move to try and be greedy under the proviso that it was being sold when really it wasn't. They just wanted to get more money out of the tenants. Ms. Jackson, 33, told the iPaper, "It's an absolute joke. Trying to get that much money from renters is extortion. Yes, it's also parasitism. These are two things that landlords are, and yet so many of our MPs are landlords, including the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. But she's a working-class success story." Well, at the time of ending the tenant's contract, the firms also attempted to charge Ali's tenants nearly £2,000 for the house to be repainted and £395 for professional cleaning. That is crazy stuff. That's crazy stuff. If there's one thing that's just as bad as landlords, it's lettings agencies, because all they want is their pound of flesh for literally nothing, for a bunch of administrative guff that is basically non-work anyway. Insofar as most landlords do that non-work themselves anyway, to at least pretend they have a real job, they will try and rinse you through the nose for it. Again, for nothing. For literal nothing. For literal nothing. Hang on a minute. When Miss Jackson told the agencies they knew their landlord was a Labour MP, the fees were mysteriously dropped, she says. If we hadn't known the charges were unlawful, we would have had to pay them. It's exploitative. So, not only do they have, like, a scum landlord in the form of Jazz Athwal, whose houses apparently had, like, infestations in them, and his blame here was, oh, we have a property management company. I'm so sorry that I didn't look after the houses that I extract money from poor people from. Like, it was like 7 properties as well. It was a real slum landlord. She has got a lettings agency managing these things, and they're just trying to break the law. The iPaper understands that Ali was told about the cleaning and repainting fees by her agency at this point and intervened to ensure the charges were cancelled. Well, okay, that part is definitely the lettings agency's fault. Who are, again, also scum. Like, let's just be real, right? Lettings agencies are just as much scum as landlords are. The MP's register of interests shows that this is one of two rental properties owned by Ali, who has served as the Minister for Homelessness since Labour's election win in July 2024. Yeah, the Minister for creating homelessness. Fucking hell. So many of them. Why is everyone... Just, honestly, urge to Mao rising. Ben Toomey, the chief executive of Generation Rent, said, "These allegations are shocking and a wake-up call to government on the need to push ahead as quickly as possible to improve protections for renters." I mean, that's true. I think that is true, Ben. But the reality is that we shouldn't have landlord MPs. We just shouldn't. We shouldn't have landlord MPs. We should have landlords full stop, right? But if we're going to have landlords, they shouldn't be MPs. They certainly shouldn't be MPs for the fucking working class party. They shouldn't be MPs for a party that's supposed to represent working people, in the words of Keir Starmer. Just, honestly, if there was anything that could be a perfect encapsulation of everything that sucks about the Labour Party in 2025, this is it. This is it. Landlord MP, multiple properties, kicking people out to raise the rent just before she puts into place legislation herself that will stop her from doing that. In the same way that Jeremy Hunt introduced legislation around stamp duty that didn't apply to people buying 7 homes, and then he bought 7 homes. But yeah, she has a 3.6% majority, chat. It's not looking good. An easy target seat for the new party, or for some kind of left-wing electoral grouping. First on the list, get rid of this landlord. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership. It's just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.